Prime.
Qualified, and we got Sundown and Bala who are going to break that down for us. Again, 2 more games out of Asia. How did they get to that qualifying spot?
Let's do that though. Did you record that whole thing?
Knocks him down with the edit. Such a solid play, but Nork's actually going to come out on top. Gets a little bit too greedy with that edit. Sees an opportunity, but no. And you talked about the positioning of these terms in terms of loadout, in terms of materials. They were.
That's a wrap, Fortnite fam. Week 3 of the Fortnite World Cup Online Open is done.
Yeah, it's done. That's it. But you can check out the replays in client. You can go, click the compete tab, set the region, and don't go anywhere. Week 4 is coming up on Saturday. And now I gotta punch through this one by one.
Jump on and drop in. It's time to kick off the Fortnite World Cup competition. From April 13th to June 16th, we'll be running Fortnite World Cup Online Opens, where you can qualify to compete for your chance at a piece of the $30 million prize pool. But how will these work, you ask? Each week will alternate back and forth between solos and duos competition, with players qualifying from each server region in Oceania, Asia, Europe, Brazil, NA East, and NA West. To find specifics for your server region, go to Fortnite.com/World Cup. To play in the online opens, you'll need to compete in the new Arena mode, an always-on form of competition where players can rank up tiers and leagues. It all starts in the Open League, and when players earn 125 points, they'll advance into Contenders League. After that, you'll need to build your way up to 300 points to unlock Champion League, where the Saturday Online Open players will be chosen. Then, we'll take the top 3,000 solo players or 1,500 duos from that Saturday's semifinals and advance them to the Sunday finals. Each Sunday, 20 players will rise to the top and qualify to join us in New York for the Fortnite World Cup Finals. Buckle up, because we're officially on the road to the Fortnite World Cup Finals. In just a few months, we will see the greatest Fortnite players in the world go head-to-head to determine who will take the title of World Cup champion and become part of the global phenomenon that is Fortnite. Hundreds of players will compete on stage in New York City for their chance at ultimate battle royale glory and their piece of $30 million. But let's look back at how we got here. The competition was hot at our first major live event at PAX West, where we held the Summer Skirmish finale. This open format pitted over 900 players against each other, and Morgassi was able to rise out of the masses and take home nearly $250,000.
A life-changing amount of money.
Fall Skirmish came next, where 500 players competed not only in Battle Royale competitions, but build-offs, challenges, bake-offs, and cosplay competitions to win prizes and valued club points. This all came to an insane conclusion at TwitchCon, where Tfue and Cloaksy were able to fend off the competition and win it all.
It's Tfue and Cloaksy!
Finishing off the year, we dove into the Winter Royale when the first ever open online qualifier was hosted, featuring the top 200 players from North America and Europe. In the end, the Stream Skype dominated the European qualifier, semifinal, and final to come out on top. And on NA, Nolan beasted his way through the rounds, outperformed the Infinity Blade, and took home the crown. 2019 kicked off with the Secret Skirmish, where Ghost Saf and Rise Ronaldo took the top spot in duos, and the solos competition ended with an unbelievable performance from Ghost Bizzle, who took it all with the most clutch Fortnite finish in competitive history.
Skating around, shot comes in, a limb for Bizzle, turns on the player above. That's it, he deagled the floor. Bizzle with the victory.
But But this unbelievable action isn't limited to offline events. We've watched competitors get themselves ready for the Fortnite World Cup through their participation in the online tournaments. Fully open qualifiers for all players 13 and up has definitely shaken up the standard. Starting with the Scallywag Cup, familiar players like Saf and Zayt are continuously flaunting their skills, and we also saw new faces like WBG's Rux and Pika. But the veterans and big names aren't backing down, with players new and old challenging each other non-stop for the top spot. Beehive was a prime example of this in the European Blackheart Cup, continuing his absurdly consistent streak of dominating open competitions, while the Argentinian Dzeko was able to show off his elimination skills in a dominant Brazil region victory. After that, we saw two duo competitions, the Lux Cup and the World Cup warm-up, with a fantastic mix of challengers and established veterans able to claw their way up the leaderboard. The newly formed duo of Perfect Tilt and Mastoris have shown that they are not to be messed with, while the newly eligible European youngsters like Mongro, Benji Fishy, Osmo, and Milan showing that they are as good as everyone believed. But let's not forget about Oceania and Asia, where we've seen the Chiefs duo of Sync and Skyla continually upsetting the standard and dominating the ladder. And Medicino, Top Fax Fox, and the Crazy Raccoon Boys have all had incredible performances over in the East. We've seen so many different players come to the fore, but nothing on the scale like this. Who will be the next Margassi? Will a Tfue or Cloak-like pair continue their domination? Will our winners be someone who qualifies early, or will they have to sweat it out every weekend to make it onto the World Cup final stage? We could not be more excited to see the story unfold and to watch these players ascend to greatness. And who knows, one of them could be you.
I mean, first, when I got 63 points, there was still one game left, so I was kind of nervous, but I was on top of the leaderboards. So I still had the kind of calm feeling inside that I was going to qualify. And then when it qualified, it was actually such a relief. I can't even explain it. It's actually such a big achievement and something I've been working for towards like almost a year now, so it feels really good.
At first I thought I was really good at the game, but then when I started playing with like Epic Whale and all those other people, I realized that I had a lot to improve on. So realized my mistakes, look back on my like VODs and videos that I recorded, and then I was able to improve like on those mistakes that I made, and it just helped me as a player so much, being able to get feedback from other people.
Keep practicing. It's actually a mental game. Like after their first two games, they'll get one pump, they'll get sniped, and they're just demotivated. You have to have the confidence to keep going and be like high hopes and just keep on pushing forward, even when you're tilted. Like half of it's just not getting tilted in these and just keeping your mental strong and just pushing through and just performing how you know you can perform.
Yeah, when I just qualified, I really was just sitting there, and I was like actually just a surreal moment. I mean, I was like obviously really excited, but I was also kind of in shock just because like it didn't really hit that like, wow, I won $50,000 guaranteed and I'm going to New York. Like, it's just crazy. Yeah, you know, my family, they're really proud of me, obviously, but I'm only 16, so they still want me to focus on school a lot. So it's been hard balancing the two, like Fortnite and school, but I just got to keep pushing it in both, you know?
My friends are really hyped about it. My parents are really supportive, including my brother. They helped me out so many times. They gave me a PC that I can play on. And then when my stream got bigger, they gave me better specs so I can stream and play at the same time. They're just really hyped about that. I'm top 100 in Fortnite.
First off, I want to say thank you to my parents that actually believed in me. Like, I quit my job like maybe 6 months ago, and I didn't have any salary, any org, or didn't have any money. But I made it in the end. I got some money, qualified for the World Cup. It's looking great.
Thank you for everyone who believed in me, because I honestly didn't really believe in myself, but we're here. We have accomplished the final qualifiers. We were going to New York. I'm so happy. Shout out to all my fans. Shout out to my family. Shout out to all the pro players that helped me practice and my teammate. So I love you guys. Thank you so much, and I will see you in New York.
To be able to place first out of NA East for the second week of duos, it was honestly mind-blowing. Crims was actually really sick during the competition. He had to leave middle of games 3 times. He also ruined his keyboard. So like the fact that he went through all of that and we still qualified in NA East being a very strong region to qualify in, it was astonishing. We were both screaming and yelling.
So me and Clix have been playing together. I met him in December, but we've only been playing for like, I'd say a month. And I remember Clix specifically saying, I don't think we're gonna qualify this week, but I think we got the next week in 2 weeks. When I said, nope, we're qualifying this week. And I guess my words were true.
And then when we were going to the Fortnite live stream and we heard we're second, I screamed as loud as I can. And like, now that I actually showed people like I know how to do it, it's just completely impressive.
We met at the Secret Skirmish. I was looking for a partner at the time, and I did not expect to win this soon, but I knew we were one of the best duos in the game. We won like 3 out of 5 games, so I knew we had the chemistry.
Seriously, it's an honor to qualify with Tyler first.
I was a little bit surprised because Arkham and I, like I said, just started doing 3 days ago. I mean, I guess it shows that individual skill can come out into a duo too, and we understand like how duo gameplay works and all that, so.
I knew a Falconer, I knew he was a good known player. We ended up doing really well, and I'm like, I want to see where this goes. So I kept on playing with him. We started getting our chem down, we started getting our end game rotations down, and we started taking off. And take everything seriously, and you will eventually get there.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Fortnite World Cup Online Open Qualifiers. Golden Boy here. We got a great crew today, just like we did yesterday. We got Zeke, we got Dr. Lupo, we got Sundown, we have Monster D-Face, and we're going to have a good time here today as we are now going to go into the process of sending some more players to New York City for the Fortnite World Cup Final in New York City. But yesterday, while I had some great games, also had some crazy moments as well. A lot of people in the community got to witness the event of all events, What was it called again, Zeke?
The unvaulting.
The unvaulting. There it is. I just wanted to say because Zeke says it with so much gusto.
It's got the passion.
Yeah, right. The unvaulting. So yes, a lot of people here expressing their happiness with qualifying, but also people talking about the event that happened that decimated Tilted Towers as well as Retail Row. The island will never be the same again, but as you see a lot of other players talking about their big moment, the opportunity to qualify for the Fortnite World Cup final in New York City. But there was one person in particular who I would say was affected greatly by the events of yesterday. One person who is now homeless, and we feel for you. We feel for you, buddy. It's Nick Merckx, who unfortunately for him lost his home of Tilted Towers, and you know, Lupo, this is heartbreaking stuff here to witness.
It is absolutely gut-wrenching. This shot, this angle actually really makes just the effect. Look at that. I'm honestly, I'm surprised you can see the entirety of Nick's face. Typically, it's only his forehead in the camera.
Typically, yes.
But that's how much he was affected, as he actually physically leaned back far enough that you could see the entirety of his face. Which, to me, that's a big statement.
Yeah, it's quite impressive. And also, one thing I will say, though, Nick, why are you so hunched over when you're watching this thing? Like, you don't have to hunch over for the event. He's always hunched over when he's playing.
Well, you realize the play is to climb into your monitor, right? He's physically trying to step his way in, and it hasn't
How
worked
foolish
yet.
of me. How foolish of me.
Come
to
on,
not
golden
realize
boy.
this. I know.
What are you doing?
Are you
a gamer?
I'm sorry. I'm not. I'm clearly I'm not. But yes, so F in the chat for Nick Merckx and his Tilted Towers. 8-2, by the way. Aiden lived there too. Just throwing it out
had the
there.
merch made as well,
It's
the
true.
Aiden Towers merch.
That's
so
right.
The timing.
Now that's
super
novelty.
unfortunate.
That's novelty brand now. So
That's
Aiden,
true.
there you go. Okay, so well, that was all fun and good. Let's talk about what we're going to be watching here today. So as you already know, Oceania and Asia already finished their matches. That concluded earlier today, but we're going to be diving into the games in the European region. After that, we'll be checking out some Brazil matches, and then NA East and NA West, which Zeke has dubbed NA West. I'm disappointed that I followed through with that, but that is the world we live in. Now, how does the competition work? Well, 15th place to 11th place gets you 3 points. 6th through 10th place gets you an additional 2, making that 5 points. 2 through 5 gets you another 2 points, making it 7 points. And then the Victory Royale nets you an extra 3 points for a total of 10. And each elimination is 1 point. We've covered quite a bit how this whole thing shakes up, and how a lot of players look to try and balance things out, because you want to be balanced if you want to get to the top, because we're playing for $1 million today, just like we are each and every week, and the top players will earn their fair share of that. But it's also about the qualification. This is what these players are putting it all on the line for, and they'll be joining names such as Mongrel and Mitro, or the likes of PF Zin and Nyx from Brazil, or even Lanon and Tyler 15. These are going to be some of the names that you'll be seeing participate in the duos competition at the Fortnite World Cup final in New York City. And we're looking to add some more names to the list today. But as I had mentioned previously, Oceania and Asia already have their matches. And luckily for us, we got Zeke to break it all down, starting with the OCE region.
Well, let's take a look. My man Zore here and Gies at the top. Now, keep in mind, both of these regions we're playing for prize money. Zori and Gies, man, quite the performance. They're going to take away that #1 spot. 5K, absolutely massive. Jalen and Skyla, these are two people that Sundown specifically had said, look, these guys are slayers. Keep an eye on them. They have come up there in that second spot. Ghost Zarby and Ghost Trap, members of the Ghost duo, finding themselves, or the Ghost squad rather, finding themselves in third. This is pretty significant. Ghost, I'm assuming, is probably super amped about it, as should they be as well. And then obviously people like Gooballs and Slayer, right? We've seen these guys before, time and time again. We also have a few replays just to kind of highlights, if you will, coming out of this region. It's a big deal, man. You know, this is absolutely crazy. These guys continue to show up week after week. I think going in, kind of starting the whole process, you know, people like Gooballs and Slayer, I had no idea who they were. And then suddenly they just keep popping up, and I'm like, dude, why am I not paying attention to like OCE? Like, what's wrong with me? And what is wrong? Too many things, all things considered. But seriously, these guys are phenomenal, and I honestly cannot wait to see how they continue to evolve. going through the rest of these weeks. Because I'm telling you right now, I feel like OC and Asia, we haven't seen their highest ceiling yet. I feel like they still have so much room to grow, and they're going to really surprise us. And when we see those qualifying spots, people they're going to have to be going up against in the final, it's going to be scary.
Hey, you know,
scary.
in New York, it truly is going to be anybody's ball game, and I would not count out any of these players. There's a reason why they made it this far, why some of these duos have qualified moving on to the Fortnite World Cup final, and even in the solos competition as well. Do not sleep on any of the competition. And I've kind of highlighted this a lot every time you see me here, but the Asian region as well, definitely a region you do not want to take lightly, because we have some top players here. Speaking of top, Zeke, I hit it up. Now you got to knock it out of the park.
They found themselves at the top.
Hey!
Puzz and me. Hey! Puzz and me here. And then we see people like Quicks and Medusa, right? We've seen Medusa, I think, as far back as like Summer Skirmish. This guy's a Slayer. KGA's Sexy Boy, a.k.a. Ball TW.
Sexy Boy, my favorite player in Asia.
Back Ho. These guys, I mean, again, it's like we're seeing a bunch of familiar faces coming out of the region, and we're even seeing some that we may not know, and there's still 6 weeks of competition. Right?
That's right.
There's still people making it to Champions League that are still going to be coming out and making a name for themselves. We'll roll some of the highlights of this region as well. It's, again, playing for prize money, but seriously, these regions are so scary. I'm telling you, we have not seen the very best. You know, they still have so much room to grow, and I'm telling you, when they pop off, they're gonna bring the heat, okay? I'm telling you, I'm gonna be the guy at the front of the line that's losing his head, losing his mind and voice, the loudest, the fastest, because these guys just continue and
Well,
continue
this Fortnite is a mechanical game, right? There's just a lot of inputs that you're gonna have to keep in mind, a lot of things that you need to micromanage while you're in the game, and I think that Asian region is known for the micro and macro play from other games, but they've also carried that on to the action games like Fortnite, and I think it's very clear that they're going to continue to be a force to be reckoned with. Not only these players in their region, like Sexy Boy, we've seen. You know, I joke about the name because I think it's a genuinely great name, but we've seen him in the top 10 numerous times. Clearly, KGA Sexy Boy is the real deal, is legit, and if it keeps on going like this, I could really very well see them moving on to the finals eventually. They just got to put that performance together, right? And the consistency is there, Zeke.
Yeah, I mean, you said it perfectly. Don't sleep on them, right? Like, I made that mistake. Do not be like me, unless you like to meme. In which case, let's become best friends.
I like how he was like his brain was just churning with thoughts there.
I was actually trying to dial myself back. I was trying to set up something big, and I was like, let's go simple. We have a whole show. We can do this all day.
We do have a whole show to get into, and I know you all want to jump right into the European matchups. I know I do as well. We saw some crazy games in Europe yesterday, which means it is now time to jump into the fun yet again, folks. So let's see. I mean, I believe we're going to have our casters coming out here in a little bit. We need some commentators for this. Anyone in the house? Oh, there it is. There it is. We got Sundown and a guy who looks like an extra from Greece. It is Dr. Lupo. I'm just going to let you guys take it from here.
Listen, Golden Boy.
Don't do it.
There's absolutely no way you could pull off a look like this because you're old. So here we are.
Actually true.
He just confirmed
Doesn't it make it more accessible to you, or?
I have no idea, but we do have Europe on deck, and I'm excited to get in these games, Sundown.
It's going to be really good. Like we talked about yesterday, 61 points in 2 victory royales was how many you had to score in order to even participate today in this Sunday final. And if you are playing, you can see that 4 box in there. We'll be hopping into the most leaderboard relevant matches, so pulling them directly from that live streaming replay in there. And again, if you want to set your region, follow along with us and go to the settings in that top right, set it to Europe, and then go to the compete tab. You can hop into these matches as well, as we immediately see Edwin picking up Merv with the heavy sniper, another player taking that one over as Circle 4 is closing. Lupo, 43 players remaining, 24 duos. So still a decent way to go till we get to the placement threshold.
Now, you have to remember, relative to yesterday, today is going to be probably a little more strategic gameplay, a little slower, because players are very, very cognizant of the fact that if they do get a little too aggressive, it could honestly cost them their ticket to New York City. Yesterday, you had far more players. I would say a much wider skill range in those games. So you saw significantly higher elimination counts than typical. But this will be, we'll look at jumping in right here at the duo from CC. No elims thus far, but 14 points total. Not a bad start here.
No, not a bad start at all. And again, just to clarify, you talk about kind of that skill disparity between Saturday and Sunday. We're talking about the difference of maybe kind of being that top 1%, you know, being up in that champion league, to being in the top 0.01%, being the best of not hundreds, not thousands, not tens of thousands, not hundreds of thousands, but the millions of players who are trying their hand and trying to compete as they are able to convert on one of those late rotators. Like the Gray going back to the lobby. Their clean elim as Circle 5 is now closing in. And we can see kind of how these players are spread out, everyone being exceptionally safe.
Ray, as a Discordia for a second there, we were watching, had a kind of a top-down view on quite a few players. They didn't have to expose the backside. They weren't the highest on the map. They did have a view of players rotating, which means essentially free eliminations, free shots at players as they're on the move. We'll double edit here. Dr. Pax looking down. Phantom right next to him, trying to see if they can get a bead on what they hear underneath. There are tons of layers below, quite a bit of loot sitting out in the open right there.
Yeah, and I mean, just the amount of the grenade launches you hear going off, the dunk. We talked about just pouring those in towards the structures, hoping to find something. Looks like they were. And that was also the first baller we've seen going past. You know, one thing we talked about, Europe in duos in particular, doesn't really tolerate ballers. They see them and they shoot them.
So right here, Pax Phantom, that elimination that was out exposed, you saw down in the stink down below. There's a ton of loot sitting there, and yeah, it would have been hugely beneficial to push down to get it, but honestly, the play that they made of waiting, just baiting the loot, because they know somebody's going to roll through there. In fact, Run Force also getting lasered.
Almost lost his entire baller right away.
There's no reason to go for it when you can use it as an opportunity to take shots, people.
And now, hopping right on board with Ritz and Zypan, two players signed by Raised by Kings recently, their first venture over into Europe. These are two very underrated players. Zypan was a player, I forget which team he played for. I know it started with E back in the day, but has been in the scene for a while. It was Epsilon, there we go, remember it. Been in the scene for a while, been able to really grind his way up and get himself there. But these are two players, they've been challenging. They're on every single one of these leaderboards, not only getting high placements, but also getting high eliminations in a region where it is so absurdly competitive. And you can see them already sitting on 33 points. We saw other people in this lobby on 14, so they're off to a great start. You have Kuna and Beehive as well, rotating through the middle tarp. You have Kaijui and Senior Striker on the high ground, Fueko on the low ground. You have Robin and Bitflux right next to Robek and the Raised by Kings pair, as they're right next to J-Kai from Method as well. Ritz looking to left, looking to line these guys up as the stink ends up coming in on them, but not able to find it as we get close to the first placement threshold. 18 teams left, and Precious, that was Precious. Back to lobby you go. Great pump shot coming out from Zypan, and another one following it up. Picks up William. Will they convert? They do. It's going to end up going through for number 6 in a second. As we get close to that top 15, Willem will take over, so will Bronco.
Ritz and Zypan actually did a very cool strategy. Hopefully people noticed what they were doing. As they were rotating, one was in charge of building, the other basically waiting and baiting shots behind and out on the sides as they were branching out. And even in the middle of that move, during that rotation, they switched roles where Zypan dropped down one layer down and began to continue to build so that his duo partner could take shots on the move. That kind of strategy, negotiating and delegating roles is huge in duos, especially like this when you have an opportunity to take shots at players that have no idea what's going on. 15 duos, by the way, remaining, which means we get into placement points. The Shadow Bomb there trying to push Kahuna all the way up. Visually, it didn't show on your screen, but it did go off.
Yeah, he was invis there, one of those visual bugs we've been talking about, working on cleaning up, but Kuna making great use of that as a rotation. Now he's going to pop it again, so he is invis. You can see that double jump and him going off. The other players not interacting with him for a reason and getting on the far side of the zone. So now you've seen he has been split. Beehive's going to work back to him. Looking from top down, you have Striker and Kaijui on that high ground. You have the RBK boys right underneath him. You have J-Kai and Forzayar right there, as well as Ipon now trying to challenge through onto BTL. Picks him up, but Beehive then also gets Tayson. So good split there. RBK also splitting a pair off. So now we're into the top 10. An additional 2 points coming out, but already 42 2 for this Race by Kings duo, looking to challenge for, again, one of the 4 spots up for grabs in Europe. Will he be able to hit the shot? No, misses the first pump and then immediately disengages. As you see, Senior Striker now opting to work his way down. There's the baller rolling around, opts to instead hit the player inside the box, and unfortunately, Ritz is going to go down, needs to find the second shot, and is not able to do it. He's going to have to reset, as now he's a solo rider, and he does. Imzdalo getting picked up. He's looking for the second player. He finds it. That's white damage right after that. Lupo, and he gets Freddy as well. Can he find the other player? No, he engages at the top, and then he gets cracked in the back, flanking around the side of the storm, and he gets Robonic underneath, and he gets into the top 5. That's absurd.
Big point swing there. Zypan looking to pick up a victory royale. His duo partner Ritz is down. He's going to layer up above and take ownership of as many of these surfaces as possible. Even if he doesn't necessarily have to push through it, he's trying to bait shots here. Looking for the pump on the outside, right at the edge of the storm right now. Trapping up the box as a just in case, kind of a fallback. Somebody tries to follow him through the stink, zoning him away. 3 duos left. 5 players total. Zypan is all by himself. No builds remaining. 44 HP. Looking for a shot through and can't quite find one. Can't jump his way back up. He's going to have to try and get an Elim before he ticks out of the edge of the storm.
He gets it down. Oh.
Almost picks it up. Down to 2 duos. It is a 2v2, but Beehive's duo. Kuna still up above. Looking for every opportunity they can. Just going to kind of bunker up down here. Move with the storm. Last second movements. And in just a second, 37 HP. Beehive's only opportunity was to try and pick up an Elim, and he couldn't quite find it. Victory Royale striker. Kayuji? I apologize. I'm not going to be able to pronounce that one.
I
6 eliminations.
Kajui just trying their best. But those were the pair who were able to take the high ground, work their way down, close it out. Great effort from Zypan to try and take it clear. But unfortunately, not enough.
Earlier, we had a wide-angle shot. People remember they were all the way up top pretty much the entire, I would say, last 10 duos remaining. They had top down the entire time. That high ground advantage it can't be overstated. It is extremely important. In fact, fighting for the high ground advantage, you see right here, players flying in might not be enough. Malchik looking for the follow-through, and he does pick it up. Malchik and Nova getting a pair of eliminations there.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like they have a ton of the utility to be able to heal that one up. So does get the Siphon coming through, the extra 100 HP, and has the mats. But other than that, going to be a little lighter on effective HP.
Now, rotation here could be difficult. However, Malchik, Nova, they do have the zone already, and they do have shadow bombs, which we've already seen in the first match. Those can be utilized in pretty interesting ways. You have players that don't have any other option. They'll pop one of those and wall jump off of opponent structures and try and make their way towards the edge of the safe zone. Even playing even out in the open, because if people can't see you, there's no reason that they're going to shoot down there. So you're kind of, it's a free move.
Yeah, so for players who are new or haven't had a chance to kind of experience with the smoke bombs that much, it gives you a brief period, I believe it's around 5 seconds, maybe slightly less, of invisibility. You're able to double jump, and then you can wall jump. What that means is you can jump and then press the spacebar or whatever you have bound for jump, could be that A button or X on controller, and then as long as you're still going up and you don't touch the ground, you remain invisible. So particularly when you get in these areas where there's so many player-built structures, if you rotate quickly, it's basically a free, either slightly vertical, but definitely horizontal rotation that can get you across open space, pretty much uncontested. However, you can take AoE damage from something like this boom bow or a grenade launcher or a rocket launcher.
Let's say we cut over to Alex, you mentioned it. The boom bow in a situation like this, Alex is he's not going to stick his head up at the top. He's not looking to be exposed for too long, but he is looking for window shots just like that. Any chance just to sneak a shot in, because even an indirect hit does 100 damage. So if you have someone that's sitting on no shield, that's potentially a knockdown. If they are full shield, then you're gonna have them on the spot. Nezra's duo right there, both players sitting up the top of this metal one by one. They basically have uncontested high ground, minus the other duo that was all the way across. There's no sense in them taking shots at this point. Alex is just looking for opportunities to beam players that boom bow. Even a shot on a baller, you remove half the HP of the baller. Like I said, he's literally just looking for players on rotation that are temporarily exposed, because the boom bow is so effective when fully drawn. It's extremely lethal. Does pick up that elimination, looking for a follow through on the second. Gets a tag on the way down, maybe a little bit of fall damage. Could get a shot from above here. Does in fact find it. Lush gets knocked. Get a duo moving in the high ground at the forefront of the storm. They're going to have to make a move now. Alex potentially challenging for high ground. A little risky. Gets the Siphon from the previous knock, so he's not doing too bad. About 188 total HP. trying to move ahead and stay on top of this storm. You don't want to get caught against the edge. We've seen countless times players will sit at the edge of the storm, slowly move with it, and just take shots at people that are trying to push their way out, because not only are they taking damage and getting pressure applied from the edge of the storm, but they're extremely exposed. You're pushing directly forward into other players' structures, you're going to get popped. 18 HP here. Waynel has 3 minis. Not going to be able to get one off just yet. Going to have to try and move forward the storm. No storm damage. Just find Nestler on the outside. Gets the knock. There's the Siphon. 68. Looking for a follow-through. Maybe damage to the baller. Potentially not a risky move there. He was unchallenged around him, but decided not to engage.
So the baller's not overly threatening to him, right? The player can drop out, but he's not going to turn back and shoot him. So then Waynel opting to wait until the baller feels safe, drops him out, hits the one pump. Great decision making from him there. Gets the Siphon and now has control of that side, but it's still back to the storm and needs to rotate through. As now we look from the top down. Gonna hop on board here with Waynel and still not into that top 15, and he's just riding around this low ground because he has no build, so it needs to come down to the elims, and he finds it. Boys Hacky goes down, and he gets a second right away. After it, he gets a third as well. Underjudged player drops down directly in front of it. Will he be able to find it? Pushing through, that was Moko that he got with the second shot. Now, brilliant play from Waynel. His elims didn't update there, but that's 4 coming out from him. He's Dalid right behind him. Zach Kappa on there, but 20 frames and Vulcan on that high ground right now. Nova and Magic directly underneath him.
4 eliminations, 30 points for this duo. We're in the top 10 now. There's another set of placement points picked up there. Another elimination. Nova does go down, which means Malchik is right through that box. Can't see the silhouette like we can, but the knowledge that these players have of position is extremely, extremely good. They're going to know where these people are rotating to just based on even how they would play. 3 shadow bombs, which means dropping down here, you have to realize with a shadow bomb on, you don't take any fall damage either. So he could pop one of those, jump all the way down to the bottom if they need to descend quickly, if a structure gets broken down, something like that. I've even seen players impulse into a flint knock, into a shadow bomb to make crazy aggressive pushes. Granted, those are public matches, a little different than how competitive Fortnite is played, but it's still an option for movement if needed. Vulcan and Frames do have the top down on everyone. There's no need necessarily to push too hard. Plus, right now, they have free shots up above. They have double layer underneath. These players are going to just try and descend as fast as possible, and Vulcan Frames trying to look for a tag here. Little defense, the poison traps in case anybody does rift back up or launch pad. That way they don't necessarily get dropped on. Alex finds an elimination through the wall. Sitting on 4 duos, 6 players total, and the bottom of this map is heavy with aggression. Alex basically down to 1 hit. Nezro still in it. Malchik forced out into the storm, and Randall is still in a baller. Alex not. Malchik finishes. We have 5 players left. Vulcan and Frames the top down on the entire room, and you have to remember this is for all the money. We're going to New York City if you qualify today, so this is an extremely important game. Randall, Malchik. Ooh. Malchik finds another elimination. Randall, Malchik, Nezro's out. 3 duos. 2 duos. Now. 2v1. The launch pad. All the way back up. Malchik trying to rotate around the outside, get high ground. He's going to try to drop on top. He's still at 43. He's got a couple ticks of the storm. He's got to push forward and get back inside the safe zone. He's good right now. No.
Frames is healing, so Frames is healing. Entyre's going to try and harass Malchik as best he can. Malchik needs to find whatever space he can, and he can't. Entyre picks it up. Now they're up to a 39-point jump. Brilliant from there.
Vulcan saw the campfire. As soon as it was placed, said, no, no, no. Lasered it out, so it gets destroyed, knowing that there's no more heals in the inventory. That's like almost a free victory royale at that point.
Yeah, because the other player on his duo had already committed to the double campfire and the heal off, would be able to get the med kit off. That means Entyre, all he needs to do is go challenge, make Malchik's life difficult, and despite him running that low ground, was able to clean it up, bump him up to 39 points. And again, this is the European region. 4 spots up for grabs. It took 61 points yesterday to even qualify for today. This is the top 1,500 duos in one of the most competitive regions, trying to get one of the top 4 spots. It's all about the points that come through. Daedra from Gamers Origin getting a great knock with the heavy sniper. Now him and Miz are going to do everything they can to try and pressure into this box. You can see there the point totals. Top 15 is +3. Top 10 is +2. Top 5 is an additional 2. Victory route is 3 for cumulative 10 total placement points. But each elimination also worth a point. And in order to get into the top 4, you've got to be doing both at an incredibly high level. You can't just be doing one very well. This is the best of the best.
couple players rotating in on the structure that Miz and Deidre trying to take shots on. They couldn't pick up that elimination. Looks like a revive did occur. More players rotating in. At this point, the 50-50 circle, this half and half, does apply quite a bit of pressure to, I would say, a majority of the lobby. The thing is, if you have players that are already inside the next safe zone, this typically is this is the best opportunity to pick players off in rotation without really being concerned with being challenged, because if you're already in the safe zone, you get to watch everybody else move in. The mini-map, you can see the bottom right, there's only a few duos, maybe just one left outside the storm. Everybody else is secure. You have to realize, there's 22 duos, 37 players remaining, and they are already stuffed very tightly into this northwest corner safe zone. These structures are all, a lot of these walls have been replaced, pretty typical strategy. People do that because they'll knock out like a metal wall. Maybe they'll pick up 40 material from it, and it only takes the 10 metal to replace it. So it's kind of like it's free material, and you get the structure back exactly as it was before.
Yeah, I think Bala gave it the term, or has the term, termiting for it, where you end up taking it away, replace it, so it's not quite as strong as those natural buildings, as we referred to them, but you're able to then edit through them. You can peek through them, much easier to move through when that zone rotation does come out. As everyone had been packed into about 30% of the effective play space, now they have to go back across it. We're not quite going up variable terrain yet, but now you can see trying to get those players off the community launchpad. Hits White onto two of them. Didn't quite get the knock, though. Seth does convert onto Raisin, and he finds him on the other side of it. Great tracking from Miz to stick with Felix. As you see, so many of the lobby taking to the sky on this late rotation, using their rifts, using their launch pads, using their shadow bombs, and the lone couple ballers also rolling around. Not quite that spree of lemmings we're used to seeing on the low ground anymore. Europe saying, now we're rotating the old-fashioned way today with a little bit of new twist.
Not bad sniper, taking advantage of this shadow bomb, trying to rotate forward with this duo Hoppy. Let's see if he can get up top. Potentially a little risky drop there. Let's see if he can just climb his way back up. I have a little bit of a concern if he was down on the bottom, exposed like that, not near his duo. Trying to defend against that would have been potentially difficult. Made his way back up, though. Couple layers here. You see he's not really covering his back too much. There's no need to because the safe zone's right there. Plus he has his duo. Does have that RPG with 8
double RPG
8 rockets.
Oh, did he just? Oh, yeah, Hoppy hit himself. He did hit himself. Didn't hit Bad Sniper there, but missed the RPG through the window. That's what happens with the nerves. Lecce picking up Expert. We have 16 duos left, and a great pickup from Not Bad Sniper. He's got a Not Bad shotgun either, picking up the elimination, putting them into the top 15. Hoppy also sitting on less than 5 HP, gets the med kit off. Now combined 7 elims. This is a huge game for them right now as Crusher picks up DRG as well. Hoppy does. I think he got eliminated. Yes, he did get eliminated. Yep. So now it is just Bad Sniper showing what he can do. And right now he's not a bad low ground warrior running through. That's Houdinix going down, getting the conversion as well. Remember, have to be able to convert on those to get the points. Seth H gets taken out again. Top 11 just needs to stay in the match. This is where patience is huge. One other player goes down, one other duo gets confirmed, and Lecce goes down. So that's our top 10. Great work from Not Bad Sniper. But the Gamers Origin duo still holding that high ground from the moment we joined the match to now, Lupo.
0 eliminations, jumping in with Supra. His duo Pablo is out. It looks like 3 elims total, 4 elims total. Finds Marijuana on the rotation on the outside. A little bit of storm damage, applying pressure, forcing Marijuana into an engagement that maybe not ready for at the time. Super at 140 in the low ground ownership. Grand Wish still inside a baller. Only a little bit of HP left on that. Probably about 100 total for the player themselves. He's pushing for an engagement, not the best. If there was knowledge
He's out.
for them,
He just got it cracked.
There it is. Yep. Gone. I was gonna say, if there's knowledge for another player, they see the cracks in the ball. It's a no-brainer to engage that.
And he missed top 5. He got knocked. He was the one to go down for outside of top 5. And now the plays from Supra on the low ground. Finds one, drop shot on the other player. Brilliant. Supra all of a sudden picks up 3 elims, gets himself into the top 5, and is making plays for him and Pablo. This has now turned into a 14-point match for them. What else can he do, though? It's a 2v1v1, and we know that Gamers Origin duo is still up on that high ground. They haven't given it up. They're going to start working top down now. They're still up there. Great 54 crack, but Supra has the other player on top of him, and Daedra is the one to pick it up. Now it's a 2v1. Can they close it out? They need every point possible. Again, It's all about top 4. You need the victory royales for the tiebreakers. You need every elimination. You need every point. And Not Bad Sniper is trying to make it happen from that low ground miracle run to taking the high ground away from the duo, doing everything he can. But this 1v2 is so tense. You have Daedra and Miz on the right side. You can see Not Bad Sniper in the wide on the left. As the tracking across gets the edit, tries to trade a shot down, is getting lower on builds. He's dropping down now. He gets dropped down, and they take him out. No explosives coming out from the high ground. Miz and Daedra clean it up. 18-point performance, bumping him up to 37 total.
If Not Bad Sniper had the RPG loaded, if he had ammunition, both were exposed, looking like they had essentially no builds. They were just trying to free fire at whatever was built above. That could have been such a big swing at the last second. Sadly, did not happen that way. Quite a bit of pressure applied and not even able to get a mini off. It looked like he was trying to move his way along the pre-built. Just couldn't get ahead of it. So duo from Lestream in the back over there. Duo from Loot Boy right up front.
That the 4th place qualifiers from week 2, so I've already cemented their spot at NYC, but also playing for a portion of that $1 million prize pool, trying to get whatever money they can. Do have some ballers safely hanging out in there as we hop on board with them. Looks like only Scram has one. Mexi going to use that new Shadow Bomb for the rotation.
They got rotation there. I think Scram just bumped into Mexi while they were moving.
Yeah,
I don't know if you caught
you know,
that.
little
Popped them head.
Little friendly.
It's a nudge, a little friendly nudge.
Yeah.
Hey, go on, bud. Actually opening the door for his duo there. Gonna box this baller up. No reason to put yourself out there too far. Gonna try and build another layer over. It does exactly that. And a free tree farm, not bad. 123 build so far. Looks like he is probably already on max wood. His build count was not going up. But a good share there between the duo. Quite a few players built up on the plateau here, and you do see the campfire going off, kind of a signal flare there. I'm curious if anybody's going to see that and try and take shots, especially if there's an RPG and a heavy sniper around. That's saying, hey, please, yeah, there you go. Immediately applying pressure. They do see the campfire. No reason to not throw a stink in there.
Double ticks, too. Got ticks on both those players and just drilled Jace move.
Very
going down, and that's just illegal over there as well. Scram cleaning that one up. You have Vitality Keyless going down to saving. Provoked and Majin were just over in that little kind of complex as well. Ludra gets cleaned up as well, but that was not their knock. You see T-Chubb, the solo qualifier, also getting picked up and converted on by Lox and Allen, as again, we're not even inside that top 15. Circle 5 is just closing. We have Nairo and Aqua over there. Actually, yep, no, Nairo and Aqua, the first place qualifiers from yesterday, trying to carry it over. The Stream Duo sitting on 4 elims right now. Heavy Sniper, Rift to go, Legendary Pump, everything you could ask for if you wanted to get a little aggro. The Rift means you can hold late on your rotations, look for fights, and you have kind of a get out of jail free card, at least for a circle or two, before it gets a little too tight.
Quite a bit of gunfire. Sounds like a little stampede going on around them right now. They do have a couple duos. Looks like 3 different teams that are very close by over here. They're looking across. They are kind of on the forefront of the circle. Big shot there. Vato finds Booth through the wall, and they're both going to just try and basically laser this wall down. They do not want that duo to get that pickup. And there it is. Finishes the elimination, picking up another point there, putting them at 35 total. There's still 2 teams in that direction, but at this point with the circle moving, they don't have to worry about it too much. They can start watching for other players rotating on the outside. You have Mech and another player rotating across the top there, the Shadow Bomb and the launch pad. Scram and Maxi from Loot Boy still hanging out in this box. They were kind of in one of the more interesting positions, as they were kind of smack dab in the middle of the safe zone. They weren't at ultimate high or low ground. They're just kind of in the middle, but they were able to pick up quite a few eliminations just taking shots, and they were unpressured from anybody else, which surprises me, because as soon as you see a box out in the open and smack dab in the middle, there's quite a few angles on it, you know they're picking up elims. There's no reason that the high ground players especially would not take shots there, and they made their way through without being challenged.
So largely that was because of the angle of the zone. The zone was moving down and away, so they didn't quite have line of sight onto where Mexi and Scram had been posted up. So then when the rotation came out, they were able to move along it. But you see Nairo is able to pick up Husky. Illegal does pick up Nat, so Illegal is able to then get the conversion and get the point going down there. As we get closer to the top 15, those were 2 of the duos who were pinned against the side of the storm. You can see Scram trying to double back get whatever materials he can, trying to be as efficient as possible. Gets exposed on the backside, and that's Oblivion making sure he drops the stink bomb on top of it, not letting Nymac get over to it, and then pops the shadow bomb, just saying, whoops, excuse me, don't mind if I do. Utilizing that wall hop to be a nice little ninja, and he's over on the backside of the storm with the siphon onto Oblivion to be back at 100-100. You want to know what a qualified player looks like for the World Cup?
Right there.
Go watch that. And
Right
again, you can check this game out. You can look at Scram and Mexi. Guaranteed they're up there on the leaderboard. Check out the match history. You can go and view it. Watch their rotations. Learn a lot as we get closer to that top 15. Mert does pick up the knock. He doesn't quite get the conversion yet as Stuffs does go down. Another player from Fact. Another knock from Mert, but still not into that top 15 as Nairo converts onto Nymac. That was Oblivion's partner, so into the top 15. Everyone gets 3 points for their trouble. Now it's about the elims and top 10 to the next threshold. Aqua and Nairo still picking up elims here. Mert gonna opt to pop the rift and try and retake high ground. Dives past ultimate and just goes to reset, knowing he can't challenge 1v2. Aqua gets cracked by Hunter's Hen, trying to see what he can do, and he does find it. So now Nairo will be alone. Leo Caddy picking up Skite as well. So Vato is alone as we get closer to that top 10. Scram dropping down, trying to do everything he can. Both him and Mexi up against it. Aqua does get converted on, so it's going to get close. Oh, and Scram catches him off guard, and that's into the top 10 as well.
Big point swing there, finds another elimination on rotation. 7 duos, 8 total players, and the duo from Loot Boy already qualified, but they're the only duo left at full in this match. A lot of players trying to make sure they have ownership of all the surfaces. Mexi sitting at 105, 2 eliminations.
And Just Illegal just picked
50.
up a triple.
Oh
What?
my gosh.
Where did that come from?
Potentially fall damage, something like that. We'll have to take a look. Or an RPG if there's a lot of players clustered, especially at this density level, would not surprise me. Scram getting 2 up top as well. Loot Boy, that duo dominating right now, even though they are on the low ground.
Oh, and it's Just Illegal.
Mexi does get knocked.
He got him with the trap. This is Just Illegal, trying to put pressure onto this qualified duo. How good are you? Not good enough. Not meeting the Neo Rooch bar, unfortunately. And now you have a 1v1v1 as Mexi takes out. It's Leo Caddy in the top right. Scram, the already qualified player in the bottom right, flanking out into the zone, going for the high ground take, and he takes it away. Double trap him off, and it doesn't quite fire, using the heavy snipe to immediately mitigate one of the traps, but does lose high ground. Now you have Nuji Naidu with Leo Caddy on the low ground, and Scram is just going to take it over, raining RPGs down from the high ground, forcing the players out of the storm as Leo Caddy gets another quick flank off to get around Naidu, but Scram finds the angle, and this should be it for the Loot Boy. He's just going to cash in on his loot, say, make it rain. I'm already going to New York City, but I'm in it for the money. Showing what he's about, trying to be one of the top 4 and just represent, getting the practice, but also getting a little bit of flex on in there, Lupo.
9 eliminations total there for Scram, and that last little engagement, that last set of engagements, dominated by the RPG, an extremely effective weapon late game. In competitive Fortnite, we see there a great example of it. This Fossil's ridiculous. A lot of building out across the river. But to take a look, a little closer look at what's going on here, we got Golden Boy and I believe Zeke and Miss Prime.
That's right. Thank you so much. And the Loot Boy duo, they're already going to New York, but yet they want people to know that they're there each and every week to take their money. Clearly, that is the approach that they're taking here. But we've had some, you mentioned, what was the phrase? Galaxy brain level plays from a lot of our EU players here. What do you got, Zeke?
Yeah, so guys, we're going to jump into some crazy clips, hopping first in with Raised by Kings Zaipan. And we kind of talk about qualifiers. These guys are the very best. Don't forget, these are the top 3,000 in the region going toe-to-toe for qualifying spots. Zaipan here, hopping right in with a just unbelievable jump shot there over on Precious. I like this a lot because he sees Tracer Fires being sent toward his teammate. He literally sends like 2 bullets over and picks up an elimination in the crossfire. Absolutely crazy. And these are things to look out for. You're watching players rotate late in the storm. You're just going to catch them off guard because they're so focused trying to get safety. Here specifically as well, no builds, and he's sitting there waiting. He knows these guys are going to try and make these late rotations, and he's just getting them left and right. Now we're going to take a look at Waynil here. It speaks for itself. Jump shots, he's got those. Now, if you're a baller and you're feeling a little safe, not today. Waynil's saying, look, do not get comfortable with me because I promise you I'm going to punish you, and that's exactly what it takes to make sure ballers are not rolling around freely. This was crazy. Wayno drops to 10 HP. One elimination, one on his right. Boom.
Wow.
Immediately back topped off. He was down to 10 HP. Anyone could have breathed on him and he would have been knocked out. It did not matter. Now, not bad sniper. Maybe not that bad of a sniper, but great with shotgun in these close quarter fights. Look at him. Just going off, popping people left and right. One more here as they thought they were safe, trying to play a little bit of Luke Goblin, just like Sundown says. Do not do that, friends. You got to respect everyone else around you. Supra, this is the Galaxy brain. He has builds, 60 builds. And he sat behind the tree because no one, if you're moving around in these late game situations, you're not thinking, okay, there's no builds there. There's not, of course there's no one there. If there's someone there, they're trying to keep themselves safe and protected. And just watch, because of that, he's just literally running around, terrorizing the entire lobby off of just that one moment where in every situation you look around saying, where are the 1x1s? There's a guy there. That tree, there's no one, I'm gonna walk over here. It's safe, right? Oh God. It's crazy. Super Galaxy.
Now we know Zeke's, impression when he ended up getting caught.
That is how it works.
That's how when I scare you.
My keyboard, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Yes, though, great plays there, and I said it yesterday, and I stand by it. This is the most competitive region that we've seen. The players here bringing it. The games have just been incredible, and we're just going to continue to see this week in and week out. But for now, though, let's actually take a gander at the standings and where we are right now with our check-in. So no surprise here that Mexi and Scram are at the top, 62 points. They have 5 games remaining, so half of their games have been played, 1 victory royale. And then looking down the rest of the list, there's Zaipan and Ritz, who you'd mentioned before. Familiar names as well, such as Benji Fishy and Mr. Savage, who have already qualified. They're looking to get themselves some cash here this time around. And then you got the Solary players up at 3rd place as well. Good players across the board. Not done yet, Zeke. But as it currently stands, if, let's say, Mexi and Scram do happen to win this week, the standings will go, or I should say the qualification would go to the team below them, correct?
Correct. That's right. And, we kind of talk about this, man, and we can't harp it enough. This is finals. This is a big opportunity for a lot of these players, putting everything on the line to try and qualify for finals.
Yeah.
A lot of those, if you were paying attention to the standings, you saw there's a lot of players that have plenty of games left. In 2nd place, DRG and his duo partner only have 3 games left. So they've had a little bit of a rough start. Maybe those points are enough to keep them where they are. Maybe not. We'll have to see. But, guys, we still have more action to get into.
That's very true. Don't forget, yesterday's games, the cutoff point was 61 points. And I believe Sundown said 3 victory royales, or 2 victory royales. Thank you, Sundown. Appreciate you, bud. So, yes, it just goes to show the competition level in this region is intense. Now, that was yesterday. Today is a whole new day. But for now, we're going to jump right back into the EU action with Sundown and Dr. Lupo.
Thank you so much, Golden Boy. And a couple of things I want to talk about on that leaderboard. First, Airwalks and Nikov. Airwalks, the first 2 weeks getting pushed out in the last match, and in week 2, didn't get a final queue, queued for 2.5 minutes, and unfortunately lost the spot in that very last match. Now currently up there in 3rd place. That consistency is ridiculous, but they need to carry it through. They always open up very strong. The back half of their games have to be as strong. If you want to be in the top 4, you have to clutch up. You can't rely on somebody else to put you there. We've seen that happen. T-Chubb and Clicks both got pushed way down the standings when they were forced to wait the matches at the end. Take destiny in your own hands. Make it happen yourselves.
Solary has kind of a history, in my opinion, of generating extremely good players. Not only Airwalks, Nikov, Kinstar, and everything. I believe I'm spacing.
Hunter.
Yeah, Hunter. There you go. All 4. I've watched all 4 of those players play, and they are absolutely ruthless, extremely accurate. Strategies on point. But like you said, late game, the last half, the back half of their matches need to be just as good as the first half. I'm hoping we can see quite a bit of that today from them.
Yeah, and also shoutouts to Lecce.
Hunter, there you go.
Was the Hunter over there. I think he might have just got knocked, or the player next to him got knocked, but Lecce was also almost the first controller player to qualify. Again, one of the heartbreakers, got pushed out in that very last match, was forced to wait because it got wrapped up his 10 matches early on, and instead Unknown Army beat him to the punch for being the first controller player to to New York City, but now him and Devil sitting on 34 points, trying to do their best to challenge up there. It's gonna take a very big game in order to get into that top 4. Again, hyper competitive.
This rotation going west. Just a second here, 7 seconds until the move begins. They're gonna have to go west across the soccer field area.
I
just past tilted.
Believe, I mean, this is Europe. We're going past the football pitch here.
So, my apologies.
It's all right, lad. I know it's a wee bit difficult.
That is actually extremely true, and now I'm embarrassed. Thanks. Ooh, a little shot there on the toe. Unless she finds that elimination, does have the launch pad in case things are a little too tight here towards the end. Build out, 132 builds. There's the launch. Early rotation is at least as early as they could, just because of the pressure, looking for those elims on the move. A couple players flying in, extremely low HP. Still a handful of ballers still in here. And the materials here, all this structure being built out already means there are a lot of opportunities just to move along the edges of them. You don't have to put yourself out too exposed in the open, but if you are flying in like here, we find Kinstar going to land on top of another player's structure, quickly walling, spinning, and jumping up another floor. Those pyramids, you can jump up one floor and build a floor right underneath you. Catch yourself. DMSec goes down Kinstar, picking up a second elimination. Hunter is out, like you said, 40 points total. Sitting on a slurp at full HP and full shield, so that's a little buffer just in case things get hairy. Finds some tags through an open window as that player is forced to build against the storm. Does not make it out. You have Clark knocked down, bottom middle does get eliminated. Hupek as well from DVI is knocked on the rotation here. You've got Fluttermoy still in a baller, another name we've seen a ton. Ameson's right there. Those two
his duo, yep,
tagged together. 45 points here. A shadow bomb, one rift in case cannot find a way through. 77 builds, so I'm not too worried. Looking for a shot there, can't quite pick it off. Goes for the double, the 2-layer edit. Finds Robin through that quick little window there. You have to be careful when you're moving around the outside of layers. If you know that there's a player inside and you don't have time to go for the wall replace, at least a ramp to keep your defenses up in the direction of a potential window edit would have saved him right there.
And this is super interesting because Fletter and Amesons have been split for the entire match. Fletter had a baller up until this very last rotation, and Amesons didn't. So Amesons was then utilizing the Rift and the Shadow Bombs to just rotate together, but both were able to make it in the top 15, and now they're gonna start working back together, looking to own the space around them and then get whatever edit picks they can, not taking straight up fights and trying to work these 2v2s, but instead just trying to play spoiler, find people for elims, but now they've worked back together all that time apart, and the duo is rejoined. This is what it takes to be one of the best of the best. You see them on 49 points, and Keenstar gets abused, caught with his back at the storm. Devil also picks up another elim, and we're into the top 10. 16 players remaining, 10 duos.
Chug Jug in inventory. Flutter may not have an opportunity to use that towards the end of this game as things start to get a little too tight here. You don't even have the 15 seconds. Young CGA does go down on the outside. Ameson looking to pick up another one. 40 damage in the back. Pushing up above, trying to get high ground and an edit. Maybe catches a baller inside a box. An opportunity to potentially break that. Try and get another elim. Doesn't go for it.
Just going to walk past him. He's more concerned about himself. Doesn't want to waste the time. Doesn't want to deal with knocking that player out as Flutter does get picked up, and so does Lechley. So now there's only one duo remaining. Otherwise, it's a solo game from here on out. Trying to find where that duo is. Looks like that's Monkey and oh no, it's Line Cut and Sleverus on that middle tarp. You have Shelter on the high ground. Swift, Amesons, Devil, Patsy, and Prago all working down the mid tarp as Line Cut gets taken down. So it's a solo match, baby. 8 players remaining. 8 duos remaining as Shelter picks up Swift. Prago, no builds left on the low ground. Trying to find the player who popped the Shadow Bomb. You can see him briefly as he's jumping around. Prago trying to track him. Knows the player's going to have to pop out eventually. Instead,
Shelter uses the Shadow Bomb, drop in.
He
from all the way to the top.
It's in your top right. Shelter in the top right. Prago in the bottom right as Patsy gets picked up by Ameson. Shelter picks up Josry. Now we're into the top 3. Prago picks up Ameson. Shelter takes it all out. You want to know how to utilize the Shadow Bomb? Shelter shows you right there from high ground to the low ground. 8 elims himself, 2 for his duo. 20-point match, Lupo.
He had the high ground, but potentially was challenged a number of times. Took multiple eliminations on the way down, the Shadow Bomb to drop in and just catch everybody off guard. Absolutely ridiculous. Very intelligent play there right at the end. pushing into the next match. You have to realize at the end here, as we're going through these matches, if you're watching from home, we are jumping in on replay files from basically focused around the end game. Once we get to the 50-50 circle, which we're about to cut to in about 12 seconds, once this one closes, these are where, these kind of matches, this is where everything starts to get hairy. We have 25 duos remaining, 46 players in a circle of this size. Sorry, 44 players, circle of this size. I think they can hear me. They just start counting down for us. Things are, this is kind of where a majority of the crazy engagements, the rotations, the very important late game gameplay happens. And you have to realize too, with New York City on the line at this point, Europe has 4 duo slots. Every single point counts, every single rotation counts, and if you make mistakes, you're going to get punished in lobbies like this.
You will absolutely get punished, but right now you have Nairo and Aqua sitting on 2 Rift to Goes, and a Launchpad does have the big pot, but only has the minigun in terms of wall pressure, does have a little bit of the spin up time, tossing a nice little emote out there to let people know he's ready to dance, he's ready to party, he's ready to go. This rotation is about to take off, and as you can see in the bottom right, there's a lot of duos stacked on top of him. He is looking for whatever picks he can, constantly editing the sides, checking up, and they're just going to launch pad out, not going to challenge above them, instead rotating into the zone as early as possible.
Early movement, this 50-50 is big. You have an opportunity to land right here. He's going to build up, try and layer as much ownership as Aqua can on his own builds. Now you look at this, immediately pop up a window, start to look for shots that can potentially take the coordination. He's actually getting damage just a little bit, down to 168. They're looking for people that can take shots at that corner right there, exposed in the open.
He just edited.
And Frenzy actually fell inside the box as Aqua had the top open. Doesn't work it out though. Aqua does pick up that elimination.
I honestly thought that was his duo that he was like letting in for a second. Like it took me a half second. Right? It looked almost too perfectly timed for that to be an opposing player. The second the edit came out, he came flying in, and Aqua was like, oh, okay, delivery. And luckily having enough heavy pots to be able to top back off. So the Elim, hey, every point matters. They're up to 48.
2 full shields here in Nyrox's inventory, 1 still in Aqua's, still a Rift.
Wait. Didn't Aqua have 2 Rift to Goes? Nairo has 1?
Indeed.
So they're sitting on...
They have so much mobility right now.
And still 2 big pots. Oh my lord. Okay. They're and sitting on 3 Elims. This is huge. Nairo and Aqua need to convert on this game. When we talk about getting all the resources, I know it's a battle royale game. There is inherently some randomness based off of your loot, based on what you're able to find. The best players find ways to mitigate that. But sometimes all the cards go in your favor and you get something like this. You have to come out on maximum points in a game like this.
3 Elims to this duo right now, 48 points. They do find a player on the outside, Big Brain times 8, not Big Brain enough. Gets knocked at the edge of the storm. That's going to easy convert into elimination. Yeah, down all the way down to the bottom. You see him looking up, trying to take some shots at players on the move. Ads as well in the top right corner of your screen. Everybody looking up right now as players are moving across Dusty Divot. These little warehouses, a lot of structure on the inside, a lot of opportunities for material if you do need it, but also a lot of opportunities to get caught off guard because there are so many nooks and crannies down here. We're going to see a shoddy shot right there. 67 shield from Tripper. Just trying to find anybody on rotation. Window edit. Quick. Faji goes down. Another Elim. Moving in. A little bit of an upgrade in there. Plus a ton of ammo. And look, a Rift to go. Stuel just picked up free mobility if needed. They're already inside the safe zone for the next rotation. Things aren't looking too bad here. At least close enough that it's not going to be a big deal.
22 duos remaining now in Tripper, also was able to pick that up because he no scope heavy snipe, just swapping right away through his edit, going to pop the Rift to go. Grab 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players up into the sky. Still have 2 ballers left, 3 ballers left on the low ground. You see everyone utilizing the Rifts, utilizing whatever rotation they can. Honestly, when you see them on the backside and shots aren't being taken, more often than not, it's a panic saying, hey, we gotta go. Let other people deal with this. But MCES, Orc-H, and Andalex, they were super high up that leaderboard yesterday in the second place. Now 43 points as they pick up Joye, but still not into the placement as Circle 7 is closing Lupo. 17 duos remaining. This lobby is about to drop, so keep an eye on that top left-hand corner because names are going to be populating.
2 more duos need to go down, and then everybody picks up that first set of placement points. 3 points there. Jake out from Method. We went across in front of everybody else, trying to get ahead of the zone here. Miz, Daedra, team we watched not long ago, if you recall. 15 duos remaining here. Miz picked up 2 eliminations, Data 2 eliminations, and 49 points total. Quite a few builds left, but he's going to get churned through those in an effort to defend himself from any oncoming damage. The flank there, very risky. Does have an RPG, but no ammunition for it, so that's a little love lost there. If he can find something on the move, maybe one of these players is carrying the goodies that he needs. He's going to try and look for it. A full shield still in his inventory. The duo from Symmetric, Blob down to basically one shot. Tully's still full. As I say that, beamed down to 50 HP. Down here at the bottom, Tripburn all by himself, 62 points, 1 elimination. Looking for the second, gets the knockdown. 17 going to convert that to 67 HP. A few builds, still has 2 minis and trying to push ahead of the storm.
Still has the heavy snipe as well. The player from Singularity trying to do everything he can without catcher left. Gets enough space to be able to pop some of the minis. Gets his reload off. Knows he has a heavy sniper now. He's looking for eliminations. Gets on the far side of the circle. Covers himself with the floor right away. Great catch there as we're now into the top 10. And we talked about it before. The 3 Riftigos. We better see you on high ground. You have Nairo and Aqua up there. Nairo in your top right. You do have Tripper on the bottom right. 56 and 63 points respectively. These are 2 of our contenders for those 4 spots going at it. And this is a lobby and a half. 6 duos remaining. 8 players left. Aqua revving up that minigun, trying to find whatever space he can instead. Going to edit himself down. Tripper getting the heavy snipe. Reload off. Looking to punch through. Sees the player on the other side. Opts to not punch through. Knows he has the heavy snipe there. Sees the player throwing himself off. Doesn't. Gets him. Brilliant from Tripper. And even better from Aqua as well. Putting on a display. Now it's a 1v2. The duo of Aqua and Nairo on the high ground throws out a little bit of the default dance and say, come and get it. Let's go. Everyone has everything you could possibly want in this case, except Matt's. Nothing for Tripper. He needs to find a way to make a play. He gets the knockdown on 1, but immediate catch, and this should be easy from Aqua and Nairo. They should be able to close it out unless Tripper can do something
There's no way.
incredible.
Aqua has the ultimate high ground.
I mean, Nairo's almost got ticked out. Nairo got drilled while he was trying to peek. If Tripper gets the siphon, he might have the change. Nairo does get ticked out. He needs to find the siphon, and he doesn't get the connection. Aqua cleans it up from the high ground. Well done for them there, pushing them up to 63 points, but also brilliant from Singularity's Tripper getting himself up to 67 as well. Unfortunately, unable to convert on the elimination, but both of those teams putting on a clinic.
Some not imagine a world where the siphon kicked in, pushes him back up another 50 HP, shots all the way up top, and potentially no catch. The fall damage elimination would have been absolutely.
The siphon would have been the difference.
I would have ran out of the studio.
I would have been left. Like we could have said, honestly, give him the spot. That's the better clutch. Good. Well, not honestly, give him the spot. Competitive integrity, and these players need to earn it.
Don't worry, internet. He's joking. He's joking.
I'm just not very funny. We covered it. I know. I'm sorry. I try. It's honestly, it's in my Twitter profile. It says I'm not funny. Just so you're clear.
Grippa going down there. Seth finds another elimination. Decent loadout here, and we've seen a number of times in the past. Maybe we get a little repetitive about it, but man, that infantry rifle in accurate hands is extremely lethal. Seth and DRG both still hanging out there at the front of the zone. A ton of players spread out, very open here, which means rotations are going to be potentially difficult. Exposed rotations, if you don't have a movement mechanic, one of the scariest things, I think, in competitive Fortnite, because there are so many hungry players that will see you. They absolutely will see you. You will get shot at, which means you need to be ready to burn through every material that you do have. And if you don't have any, I wish you the best of luck. Hats off if you make it.
Well, I mean, that's when it genuinely, in my opinion, feels like it turns into a luck game. Is somebody turning and looking at me while I'm rotating? If so, I'm burning all of my mats.
Exactly.
If not, that's why you see players now opting to carry the shadow bumps, opting to carry the redeploys, because it minimizes your opportunity to end up in that situation. The best players in this game, what they do is they minimize their ability to be put in bad situations, and then the best of the best, the Benji Fishies, the Mr. Savages, the Clixes, the Stompies, the players of the world who have already qualified, what they do is they minimize the times when they're at a disadvantage, and then any time another player makes a mistake, they capitalize on it. They're looking there with a rifle. They already have an edit held. They've put themselves in a cone. They're waiting with a heavy sniper. That's what separates the players who are in that top 01% from the players who are going to New York City.
Here's what I want to see right now. Vertrax sitting on 9 dynamite. Everybody's got to move in 26 seconds. It's time to start mixing it up and force people out of their builds. I want them to just start hucking those 9 dynamite. Yeet some players out of their builds as best they can, and here we go. A little comeback.
So you saw what they actually did there. They split the shadow bombs right there. That way one would be able to have a singular shadow bomb. There's a second one sitting on the floor. They're going to pop it as they go to rotate, but it does eat up a spot. You can't pop it like a Rift to go and then run away with it. So going to have to make a decision, and it looks like he's going to opt to drop his AR. They're both going to pop their shadow bombs, and they're going to go out. You need to confirm your edit, dog. That was so
he's
bad.
Punished
that was
instantly.
So bad.
Oh, big door open. Vertrag does get knocked right there. You hate to see it. Prisonero, one of the better players we've seen in previous weeks.
Qualified in week 1 in the solos competition. The player coming out from Team Queso. All about Team Cheese. Hopefully you got some dairy-free ones up in there. I know, I apologize. It's not my choice. My stomach hates me. But it's okay, him and Potato doing their best to try and get the rotations in there now. Boyer also gets picked up by Orange. Benji Fishy in the lobby has Stompy, your favorite weapon, the minigun, being primed for a second, but not going to be put into action.
Thank you, EU, for just taking advantage of such a lethal weapon. Applying pressure like you would not believe, but Prisonero dropping down here, 90 HP, a little bit of a storm tick there. Seth and DRG still have the ultimate high right now. Maybe challenge from Vortex, depends on how he wants to push. He's going to stay the same floor and just rotate across, blocking himself off as he moves. Ramp to defend. It looks like he dropped down 1 floor there. Seth and DRG have a chance. Looking up right now, we're 1 duo away from placement points. 16 right now with 26 players remaining. Karma goes down in the feed there. 25 players. 1 more duo needs to go down, and Seth and DRG are going to pick up another set of placement points here.
And we're rotating back over this. We're rotating back through all of these builds, so it's going to be a lot of edits, and hopefully Seth is able to connect, and Prisonero does convert onto Savage, so Benji is now a solo rider, but Savage and Benji have already qualified. Seth taking him down there as Blackso also gets picked up, but Blackso went down first, so the 3 points do go over to Benji Fishy and Mr. Savage. Now, DRG and Seth. DRG, the 15-year-old coming out from Belgium, has already qualified for the solos, looking to make it for the duos. He's up there on the leaderboard, sitting on 45 points, getting some shots down on the ballers. Has a really solid loadout, but no mobility, so they're going to be looking to hold this high ground for as long as possible.
You said previously Europe has a tendency to not allow ballers to last too long, and I think right there is absolute proof of that. DRG seeing a chance to just take free shots at him and break a couple players out to force fighting, and that's exactly how it plays out. DRG looking to get ahead of his player. He's waiting, baiting the shot, looks for it, gets an 84 with the pump there. He's looking for the follow through the second, and there it is. Clockwork. DRG picks up another elimination, up to 2 now, 5 total for this duo, 48 points. Would not surprise me if we see another big move here in a second. A ton of traps going down. Ultimate high ground right now, and they're waiting for anybody that might say, hey, I want to drop in right there and see what I can do.
And we're into the top 10. The Team Queso duo did get picked up just inside of it, so they got those additional 2 points. Brasco looked like he was going to challenge, opted to back out. XOXO gets taken down, but now DRG is going to start working down because, again, did pick up a launch pad from one of those elims, so does have top-down mobility now in a way to cancel out the fall damage as it gets another one. And we're into the top 5 as Westmore picks up series, another duo who is in the top 5. We talk about it. These lobbies get super significant. If you can pick up an elim on somebody else in the top 5, it's even more effective as DRG makes Merwaka look silly and Westmore look even sillier. DRG, there's a reason you qualified for solos, but can you be good enough to do it for duos again? As he's working top down and eliminating everyone. Coley goes down. Westmore gets converted, and now it's a 2v2. Seth and DRG versus Zuno and Marcus.
For a second, DRG, I don't know if you saw that, he was on the same floor. He's thinking, maybe I could bait one of these shots out, decided to build back up and take the high ground back with Seth just so they have a top down on everybody. But that was an absolute ridiculous showing there. DRG reading every opponent, every engagement along the way, picking up a handful of eliminations. Seth and DRG, though, have to stay on top and ahead of the storm because, 51 builds, 50 builds, a ton of healing. They do have shadow bombs for free rotation up if there's even a chance because Seth and DRG, they're going to keep layering every step they take, they don't want to necessarily get engaged.
So what I'm doing here, if I'm the team on the low ground, keep Marcus in there, send Zeno out. No, they're sending Zeno out now. I was going to say send Zeno out with the Shadow Bomb. Instead, they're going to send him out to take Storm Techs and try and get the med kit off. He's trying to pop it. He needs to get the spacing right. He needs 3 extra seconds. That's not going to be enough time. That med kit won't confirm. And instead, Seth is going to go down. He finds the siphon. Zeno has to cancel it. Can't get the conversion over. Math is hard. What I was going to say is Zeno should pop the Shadow Bombs and just go ham while the other player holds the circle. But instead, Seth and DRG, they pull the trigger. They go down. 6 elims for Seth, 4 for DRG, 10 total with the victory route, 20 points.
At that point, with the size of the circle and how fast it's moving, like you said, he needed a full 3 seconds of usage time on that medkit to get ahead of the fact that he had 70 HP. It's ticking 10 a second. There's no way he's going to have it. The only option was Shadow Bomb and push. You look at hoping for a siphon maybe to pick it up, and that was the only chance he had. And tough situation in the moment. Those kind of calculations can sometimes get overwhelming. So I don't really blame him for that, but it is too bad there was no push there.
To be fair, for me, honestly, my mouse would have slid off the side of my desk, my keyboard would have fallen over, my hands would have been sweating, and I wouldn't have made it to that end game anyway. So don't mind our criticism. We're just talking about when it's the best of the best, the 0.01%.
Hindsight's always
you need perfection. Just like that shot coming out from Leo Katie, right way. Everview, Lowell going down, and I mean, and again, we talk about the pace of this game. First of all, nearly 50% of the safe zone is unplayable right now as this rotation is going to come out. And the speed at which you can be eliminated in Fortnite at a competitive level is ridiculous.
With a circle like this, that means anybody that's already in the safe zone that is prepping to take shots, this might be the best chance they're going to have the entire game to get eliminations because everyone's forced to one side. That being said, the block is in it, which means you have these giant monolithic, structures kind of providing cover for everybody on rotation. You have stuff built up right next to it. It's a free building zone, essentially. So it's going to be very situational here, but look at the density of players right smack dab in the middle of the screen. So many people are stacked up around this tree and beyond it. It was almost difficult to see exactly where everybody was there. Stompy, Chicken's still alive here.
The Schinken, the thin pancakes coming out there. The French call them crepes. The Americans call them really, really thin pancakes. And you know what?
I think we call them crepes sometimes too.
I call them really thin pancakes. But already qualified in from week 2. Stompy also qualified in from week 1. So they're in it for the practice. They're in it for the money. And then they're in it also again for that flex. If you are just joining us, welcome. This is the Sunday finals of the Fortnite World Cup Online Open Qualifier Week 4. How these players are earning points. They're playing in a 3-hour window or 10 matches. Each match you can gain points by either getting in elimination 4, a point apiece. Top 15 gets you 3 points. If you get into the top 10, it's an additional 2. Top 5 is 2 more for a total of 7. The Victory Royale duo gets 3 for a grand total of 10 cumulative placement points. So, maximum amount of points we see from a game. If somebody really pops off, generally on Sundays, it's more towards the 20, maybe 25 range if somebody's really going off, but don't typically see more than that. Kenzie on 29 right now as we're about halfway through, a little past that in terms of the queues for the day, maybe an hour left. And shots coming out, great early rotation, misses the RPG, but will he be able to convert instead? Needs to cover up because the player's coming in fast.
And we just have held that edit for just a second for launch padding their way into kind of a hectic, who opens a window and puts a campfire down and then doesn't close it. Pugga pays the price there. Kenzie finds it with the RPG and quite a few follow-up rockets still available there, 11 in the inventory.
That's like in the cartoons when the grandma puts a pie in the window and the little smoke comes out. Exact same thing. Fortnite version of that right there.
Pug was screaming to get rocketed.
Yeah, it's like, please put any form of explosive into this box. I don't want to play the game anymore.
Handful of players moving at the edge of the circle right now. Everybody kind of frantically pushing their way through each other's builds as well. Handful of rockets out here. 6 in the inventory. A big shot there as the baller gets broken. Alpha goes down from Dual Media. Zalti, Rob Abs, Falcon Leaf looking to pick up another elimination. Moving their way through. Ownership of all these surfaces, super important. You see them closing off the edits behind as they move. For a second, it looked like Rob Abs was trying to move into Falcon Leaf's build and could not quite get it. Duo edited the door closed. Kinstar from Solary goes down instantly, which means Hunter's gone as well.
Outside the top 15 too.
Here we go, 15 duos. Everybody that got knocked out before this pays the price. No placement points for you. Rocket down from above. Switch over to the duo. Falconly finds line cut on the edge. Looking for another one. The follow through potentially as more players are still there. Does you see the heal? Does. The mini, try and push up, doesn't go for ownership of the wall, was hoping for a little more aggression.
Great edit to get an angle, and instead the launchpad comes out and it gets destroyed, so he can't utilize it, but he's okay. His angles have been fantastic, and now he's looking for another one, has the boogie bomb, exposes the player out of the baller, and the baller is gonna go off into the storm, so that one's out of play as Darrow gets dropped outside of the top 10. Ryfly on TikTok does get to at least dance a little bit inside the top 10, gets the additional 2 points, so now looking at the wide, you have King Cinder on the high ground, Priz in the last baller on the low ground, and it's a solo match from here on out, Lupo.
8 more players, 8 duos, 5 eliminations for Falconly, sitting on 51 points, 27 builds, and a double pump loadout. That doesn't work the same way it used to, but can still be relatively effective if you don't want to waste the time trying to reload, if you're in a very tight engagement, trying to bait a shot, looks for it, and actually gets punished a little bit. Falconly down to just barely enough HP to survive that. Does follow through for the Siphon. 6 elims, only 11 builds, and they're going to get used pretty quickly here. Descent is extremely, extremely important right now. King Cinder does have the high ground over everybody. Not enough HP to sit inside the storm for too long, if that's what it comes down to. Priz down to 1 shot all the way at the bottom in a 1v1 with Yard, and Falconly says, I want to be part of this as well. Pushing through the surfaces above, blaster all the way down. Cinder still has the high ground on everybody. Falconly gonna get baited potentially here. If Cinder looks to the left and finds it, cannot hit the shot in that moment. Cinder down to basically 1 shot at this point too. A 3-player battle royale, 1v1.
Falconly has no builds on the low ground. This is all about Yardine. Yardine should be able to just walk Falconly around. He only has the 74 effective HP. He can just wait him out. He has the redeploy if he needs to drop down, but any exposure by Falconly, Falconly has to do something incredibly special here. And now Yardine should recognize this. Oh no, he's gonna walk back over builds. This could be something new. He gets 10 to work with. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Imagine finding something in this box rotating through.
With 24 to work with now. But now working through, we've talked about this before, as you have to punch through the metal, sometimes it's best to look for an AR. He finds the storm back, now he goes to challenge, and Yardine is just walling him off, using the HP advantage, securing the victory route. You know what? Fortnite Battle Royale, the battle is building. Building is the difference. Yardine says, my 10 elims were already enough. Gems picking up the 2, walls him out, 22 points total. That's not too bad, right, Golden Boy?
Couldn't agree more. As Dr. Lupo says, Fortnite Battle Royale, the ultimate Battle Royale experience. That's the Dr. Lupo catchphrase right there, by the way. I got you, baby girl. All right, so great matches in the EU block, our first EU block of the day. We got Zeke here once again. And, you know, speaking of experiences, we had some crazy matchups. We saw some familiar faces from yesterday as well, such as the Exalti duo make their appearance here. So let's kind of run through what some of the clips you have here and big moments that we saw from our first block of EU games.
That's right. We're going to talk about 3 things: viability, comfort, and straight up sprees. So here we go, starting off with Shelter. He finds an elimination. Now watch, he's going to pick up something very specifically. That's the Shadow Bomb. So we're going to wait here for just a moment. All day yesterday, we talked about the viability of this item and whether or not players were opting to pick it up, how they wanted to use it. Shelter right here is going to show us exactly how he wants to use it. Pops it, drops down. Keep in mind, this is a 6-second window where you are invisible. You cannot be seen. He's sitting here from above watching the action. He knows someone's down below. The moment they try to come out, cracks that player, and then it's just textbook. He knows that Prago there also has to try and break out of his build to get into safety. Quick cleanup there. Viable indeed. Aqua, talk about comfort. For Aqua, that is the minigun. Watch as he's going to put this to so much work. He finds an elim here. He's going to do this 2 more times in 2 different ways. One, he's going to crack this player. He's going to fall in front. Boom, immediately mowed down. Now there's going to be another player that drops down who thinks they're safe, and that minigun is going to fracture the build, cause them to drop back down, back to the lobby for them. DRG. Talking about sprees, look no further. This guy is a monster. So if you saw he jumped there, he went actually to place the floor. He was going to go for the edit play down. Thompson, though, said, I'm going to put the cone down. He's like, all right, I'm just going to be 1 step ahead of you and outplay you. Here we go. Wall replace. Boom. 1 shot goes out. Someone else decides, you know what, I'm going to try and go toe-to-toe with him right here, right now. Not the case. And it happens an additional time to which DRG says, all right, I'm just going to go in the box. You know, this is the level we're playing at. If you want to make it to finals, that is the level you have to be. And right now with Aqua sitting in second with Nyrox, I mean, they're feeling it.
Yeah, and so also another thing to bear in mind as well, the point breakdown. So yesterday we saw high points, right? I think it was most regions were at 100 plus points. This time around, though, we're seeing that be more on the lower scale there, right? Like 67, 66, a split here, very, very narrow. But speaking of that, the standings, you mentioned the Atlantis crew. You got DRG and Seth that are going to be in 9th place. You saw them in the highlight. Scram and Mexi, who were in that #1 spot, have dropped down, but they have 4 games remaining, which means that they could very well finish in the money, but it doesn't really matter for them because they're already going to go to New York City. And then it's about top 4. And as it currently stands, you got the Atlantis duo, you got Nyrox and Aqua, you got Provoked and Imagine, you also got Deader and Miz. These players all looking to try and make their way to New York.
And something we want to kind of talk about, let's break this down a little bit further. If you guys have been watching, you know exactly how we do this. And if this is your first time, we'll get you up to speed here. So something very important to take a look at is these games remaining, right? Right now, Atlantis, Kester, and Trippin, they're sitting at the top with 67 points, but they've played 9 games. That means they have 1 game left. Now, if we just go down the next, Aqua and Nyrox, they've played 7 games and already have 66 points. So they have a much larger window to work in, right? So let's say immediately Catcher and Tripper and jump into that last game and they get eliminated out the gate. That's it, their run is complete. That's not the case for the players in 2, 3, and 4th spot. Even coming down here, Aim Sons and Flutterboys, they have 62 points with 5 games remaining. In 5 games, they've gone 62 points.
They could do a lot with
crazy.
that. They could do a lot with that. And a lot of players, too, will look at the amount of games that you have left and think, well, maybe we don't need to play some of these games so that this way it kind of evens out our average a little bit better. But, you know, in the instance of the Atlantis duo, they only got 1 game remaining, 67 points. If they manage to hold on to top 4, that would be incredible. But it is going to be very difficult. But Zeke, thank you so much for the breakdown, my friend. Crazy stuff indeed. EU not done yet. We're going to have another block of games coming for you in just a little bit. It's a 5-minute break, so don't go anywhere. And when we return, more EU Fortnite.
Welcome back, Fortnite fam, to coverage of the Fortnite World Cup Online Open. We're here, week 4, means we're back with duos. Now, guys, I know what you want. That is games. We're not going to mince words. We're not going to stall like I'm doing right now. We're going to get in these games in just a moment. I'm just kidding. Let's get into the games. Monster, D, G, B, Boricua, boys!
Always coming out with something new there, Zeke.
Oh, my word. All right, well, what's up, everybody? So we have the EU games going on right now, as we had mentioned before, and we're going to be jumping into those in a little bit. But I think first and foremost, I do want to talk about, just the level of competition that we're seeing in this region, but also the points. Very, very low, right? Like, compared to what we saw yesterday, a lot of people were like, oh, man, everyone's racking up so many eliminations, but it's clear that everyone's trying to hit the placement as well as get those points on the elims, right?
And the points are low because you have people like Mexi and Scram who already qualified in there, just bullying the top 10. You saw those games out there. They're really out here shaking up the board. And I mean, honestly, this is what we expected, right? We expected these top tier duos to slow things down. On finals day, there's so much more riding on the line because, to get to that punch and ticket, right? To get to New York City, it's too much pressure.
Yeah.
You got to take your time.
Yeah, that's right. It's been quite the road indeed for a lot of these European players. And as I mentioned before, we're going to be jumping to the games in just a little bit. We're waiting for them to start up. And once they do, we will be right in the fun. But there have been some great moments. One thing in particular that we do got to talk about has been the Shadow Bomb, because we haven't really dived into this, and we'll break this down a little bit more. But let's jump into the action. Your next block of EU games. Well, let's talk about this Shadow Bomb, because this thing is really good. It's a really good utility weapon.
I know a lot of the pros kind of had the nerves on edge there whenever a new item or something gets introduced, but you got to give a nice little hat, right? A little hat tip to Epic and the Fortnite team, because the Flint Knock introduction has been a fantastic weapon so far, and now the Shadow Bomb. I genuinely stand behind the Shadow Bomb so far. What we've been able to see with it, three on the pickup is a little strong, because you have 3 full rotations mitigating the what could be a little bit of bad luck, right, against the Storm.
Yeah.
When you have those zone options and that mobility at your disposal, that's something that I can stand behind. That's part of the reason why I think Grappler, or Thought the Grappler, right, if it had a return, it had a small chance to make it on the scene in the current state of the game. But the Shadow Bomb, man, look, talk about the Shadow Bomb. Exactly, look at that. Stompy completely disregards him now, right? Don't even want to fire at him. And Stompy, come on, he's a beast, man. The dude's already, made it on through as well. So when the best players recognize that, hey, Shadow Bomb's in play, there's not much you can do, they're gone like the wind.
You have a lot of movement options now in Fortnite, right? I mean, you got the baller, obviously, but you also have the launch pad. But then at the same time, you also have the geysers if they're available to you.
You have
the
Cannonball.
Rift to go. You have a Cannonball, and then you now have the Shadow Bomb. There are a lot of options to be able to move around. And that, to me, I think is like the best part about it, because even the zip line too, right? It's not the cleanest, and it's not also the most reliable, but you can use the zip line if you want to, in case you need to be able to get from one place to another in a pinch. There are just so many options to be able to move around, and Stompy and Tachinkin, 2 players that have already qualified for the Fortnite World Cup final. They're going to be in these lobbies looking to cause a ruckus for any of these players. And unfortunately, one of those players is Craze, who ends up going down. Don't worry, bud, you don't suck. You're actually a really good player because you're here at this level of competition. But here you go, Stompy, along with Tachinkin. They're going to rotate out with their ballers, as we mentioned. Another of the movement options that have become very prevalent this season in competitive Fortnite.
Yep, they sure have. So I like what they do here. They kind of find a spot on the map. They land on the trees just so that way they can recycle a little bit for loot. But hopping on over to Yarden here, who's pressuring right through the wall. I love the tracking here. You can see the player clearly through the structure, through the little brick plank there. And this is a perfect time to put the pressure out, especially when opponents behind the ramp. But in comes some stinkers. That's going to back him off just a tad bit here.
Yeah, going to force him out of that angle that he was really loving to try and be a nuisance, but doesn't really pan out. His teammate Gems as well is going to be right on the outside, just exchanging some resources. 56 builds for Yarden. And look at this. You got a lot of players scattered about, but 2 players actually just going to be right outside. No protection, no coverage on that right wall. And Yarden goes right in for it. And now this guy's trying to play defense and get that wall replaced, Yarden, but doesn't snag it in time, but will reap the benefits of that elimination and then use a community launch pad to get on out of there and go to that safe part of the zone.
Yeah, you got to commend the teammate for knowing, like, hey, listen, you're down and you're kind of out here. So not to stick around and get on out and possibly win himself some points down the line. Best decision, that he can do in that situation. But that's why you don't leave these planks open. You don't leave these walls open. Like players like that, Super gets a huge hit right there.
Yeah, low ground warrior play without a doubt. You never see him coming right out of the grass. And Supra restabilizes in the box. That elimination will tick in a little bit. Does get the knock onto Gems.